Hey guys, it's Glizzy here, and in today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to be taking a look at the Ruinous Effigy. This is a brand new exotic for the season of the arrivals, and we put together some really powerful builds for this brand new exotic. So we have builds for the Hunter, Titan, and also the Warlock, so I would love to know down in the comment section which of these builds is your favorite. If you guys do go on to enjoy that video, please be sure to let me know by slamming that thumbs up button, but without further ado, let's dive straight into it. So before we get into the builds, let's take a closer look at the Ruinous Effigy. This exotic is going to be featured on each of the builds, so I want to take a closer look at this before we dive into it. So this exotic comes with the intrinsic trait Transmutation. Final blows with this weapon collapses victims into void transmutation orbs. So this is a very unique intrinsic trait, so anytime we get a kill, it's going to turn them into collectible relics for us to actually use. And then there's also the special perk on it, Evolution. Transmutation orbs you create can be picked up and wielded as a weapon by you or your allies, and there's also 3 actions you can do with these relics. You can do a light attack, heavy attack, or a guard dash drain nearby combatants. So for our first build here, we're going to be using our Titan, and we're going to be using the Sentinel subclass and going with top tree Code of the Protector. This is going to grant us our bubble so we can take advantage of the weapons of light buff. So now moving into the build, this build's going to be focused around the Stronghold exotic, and this exotic comes with the exotic perk Clenched Fist, maximizes guard stats on your sword, and also shots blocked immediately after guarding will heal you. So we can take advantage of this exotic and apply its exotic perk to our brand new transmutation orbs. Now moving on to our mods. For our first mod here, we have Sustained Charge. Become charged with light by rapidly defeating combatants with auto rifles, trace rifles, or machine guns. So now moving on to our next mod, we have Protective Light. While charged with light, you gain a significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are destroyed. This effect consumes all stacks of charged with light. The more stacks consumed, the longer the damage resistance lasts. Now looking at our next mod, we have Supercharge. You can have 2 additional stacks of charged with light and up to a maximum of 5 stacks of charged with light. Taking a look at our final mod, we have Oppressive Darkness. Causing damage with a void grenade adds a weaken effect to combatants. So now that our build is complete, now we can buff our Ruinous Effigy to 130% extra damage. So we'll be doing 130% more damage than the base damage of the weapon, and this is really easy to do. So all we need to do is spawn a transmutation orb and then pop our weapons of light bubble, and then after that apply the Oppressive Darkness grenade to whatever enemy we're trying to damage, and then from here we'll have a total of 130% damage increase. With this brand new exotic catalyst on the Ruinous Effigy, it actually stacks with other buffs and debuffs, so we can get some pretty insane damage numbers out of this brand new exotic. Using all of these buffs and debuffs and also the catalyst, this makes this one of the best weapons for total damage and also for DPS. So with this build, we can also take advantage of the Stronghold exotic. This exotic gives us its exotic perk, which is going to heal us anytime we take any type of damage while guarding with our transmutation orbs. So we can basically become invincible as long as we are guarding with our transmutation orbs, which is a super clutch feature to this exotic. So it's super fun to just run in the middle of crowds and take a whole bunch of incoming damage, and then you'll heal right back to your maximum health. So this is definitely one of the strongest builds, but we have a couple more to show off, but this is definitely one of my favorite builds of the season so far. So now moving on to our next class, we have the Hunters up, and we're going to be using the Night Stalker subclass, and we're going to be going with Bottom Tree Way of the Pathfinder, and also we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. So this build's going to be focused around the Graviton Forfeit exotic, and this exotic comes with the exotic perk Vanishing Shadow. Increases the duration of any invisibility effect, and your melee recharges faster while you are invisible. So now moving on to our mods. For our first mod here, we have Taking Charge. Become charged with light by picking up orbs of light. Now moving on to our next mod, we have High Energy Fire. While charged with light, you gain a bonus to weapon damage, and each defeated combatant consumes 1 stack of charged with light. So for our next mod, we have Stacks on Stacks. Gain an extra stack of charged with light for every stack you gain. So now for our final mod, we went with Supercharge to get those additional stacks of charged with light. So what makes this build so powerful is there is a bug present in the game right now. While you are invisible and holding a transmutation orb, you can actually use your guard ability without breaking invisibility, making this an extremely strong build for clearing out ads. You can also take advantage of the High Energy Fire mod, which is going to give you a 25% damage increase to your guard ability while you are holding a transmutation orb. So you'll be getting that 25% damage increase, and also you'll be invisible, so the ads won't even know know what's hitting them. This is all around one of the best ad clearing builds in the game. So now moving on to our final build of the video, and this is a special build. This is a PvP build. We've never put together a PvP build, but this is definitely a super strong PvP build, and with skill-based matchmaking being taken out of the game, we can actually play around with some of these builds inside of the Crucible and have a really good time. When skill-based matchmaking was around, you had to play serious all the time because it was just a sweat fest, but with it being taken out of the game and connection-based matchmaking being put in the game, it's just a much better experience while using builds and playing around with goofy setups. So now we're going to be looking at the Warlock, and we're going to be looking at this PvP build, which is extremely strong. So now moving into the build, we're going to be using the Voidwalker subclass and going with Bottom Tree Attunement of Hunger. This is going to grant us the Devour ability, and also we're going to be using the Blink Jump. So for this build, we're going to be using the exotic Astrocyte Verse, and this exotic comes with the exotic perk Move to Survive, Blink further and more frequently, weapons ready quickly out of blink, and radar remains up. So now moving on to our mods, we have our first mod here, Charge Harvester. While you are not charged with light, any kills or assists has a small chance to cause you to become charged with light. So this mod is a PvP player's dream. All you simply have to do is get kills and you'll eventually become charged with light. So now moving on to our next mod. For our next mod here, we went with the High Energy Fire mod. Now looking at our next mod, we have stacks on stacks, and on that same piece of armor I slotted in the Breach Resonator mod. Grant melee and grenade energy on final blows with anti-barrier weapons, or when a member of your fire team shuts down a barrier champion's ability. So now looking at our final mod, we have Enhanced Bomber, even faster grenade cooldown when using your class ability. So we're going to be using 2 of this Enhanced Bomber mod, and this is going to help us a whole bunch when it comes to getting our grenade back. So this Warlock build has to be one of the best builds put together for the Crucible. The Crucible, there aren't too many builds you can get together because there aren't too many mods that work well inside of PvP, but I mean this build right here works really good inside of PvP. You'll have some surprising results while using this build. I didn't think I would be able to go on a winning streak while using this build, but I went like 4 matches in a row just completely dominating inside a Rumble. So I think this build is definitely one of the best, if not the best, PvP build that you can actually use if you are playing PvP. No, I wouldn't use this for like trials or competitive play, but definitely if you are just playing inside of the regular playlist, then definitely have some fun and use this build. So I would love to know down in the comment section which of these builds was your favorite, and also how you guys are enjoying the Ruinous Effigy. But that's gonna do it for me in this Destiny 2 video. I'm gonna let the rest of this PvP match just play out. I got some pretty nice clips from it, and I'm using this build, so I just thought might as well keep it in the background for you guys to enjoy. And again, thank you for sticking through to the end. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to let me know by slamming that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. And I've been your boy T Glizzy. You guys have been my awesome viewers, and I'll see you guys in another. Peace.
Only 5 minutes left.